let's see if we can get it to stay straight. Yay, it's staying straight. It's staying straight. We'll wait for a few people to get in. I'm coming from office 2. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. I am alive. I know you guys didn't see me yesterday. I felt it was a good option. A good option to just have a day. I needed a break from everything. There's been just, it's a lot. And we're coming up to a year that Sebastian has been missing. And so it's starting to get a little, it's starting to feel, I mean, it's been real, but it's just starting to feel, I don't know, I guess defeating a little bit. I was hoping to find him, whatever condition, happy, healthy, and not happy, healthy, and he hasn't been found. And I feel like some of the earlier assessments of where he could be may be true, and it weighs on my shoulders a lot. Rebecca, good morning. Mickey Shell, Dawn, Outer Banks, it's nice to see you. Jojo, good morning, love. Melanie, Stephanie, Denise, it's nice to see you. I just ran over somebody. I mean, not run over them, but I just lost them. Hold on, who was next? Karen. Denise. Stephanie. There we are. Melanie, Stephanie, Denise, Karen, Natalie, Carla, good morning. Our beautiful Sonia's up in the house. Good morning, Sonia. Karen, good morning. It's nice to see you. Kofi, it's nice to see you. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Phil is in the house. Southern, good morning. True Crime Addict. Erna, good morning. Yes, I'm alive. Look at Clarissa. Nice to have you, love. I hope you're doing well. Good morning. Mason, good morning. Shining Star. Patricia, good morning. It's nice to see you. Stephanie G. Cheryl, good morning. It's nice to see you all. So yesterday I kind of took the day off. I did some cooking. I made some, I made kind of a sliced pork. I was going for pulled pork, but I just lost my patience to wait another 3 hours for the pulled pork up. So I did sliced pork, baked beans, and some mashed potatoes and gravy. And that's what I made yesterday. And then I started cleaning out. I needed to get a place for Delilah's food and her toys and her treats. And they were kind of just, if you guys remember, in the living room, I have like this little bench right under my TV. And it was just cluttered with all of her stuff. And so I needed to make room. After 6 months, well, she's collected a lot of stuff, it's not my fault. When I first started out with her, she had one bag of treats and a bag of food. I mean, easy peasy. Well, now I realize I've got a very persnickety dog that, she likes a variety of treats that she likes to pick out and beg mommy for and then not eat. So we are collecting a pile of treats that she doesn't eat. These are her favorite. These right here with the stuff on them, these are her favorite right here. Okay, we have found out that these are her favorite. And anything other than these, she may or may not eat here and there. But these are her favorites. So I have to keep these things in stock. And one package of these are like $10. So she's got a wealthy amount of treats at this moment, and it took a whole entire drawer. So we found her a drawer, and now she has her official Delilah drawer. It's got her balls in it. It's not got her toys in it. I've got the little cocoon houses for her toys. She's got a lot of toys too. But it's nice to see you. Crazy Cat Lady is up in the house. Cinderella, Peggy, YouTuber. It's nice to see you. Dawn. Good morning. I hope everybody's doing well. So I wanted to address some things because this stuff shows up in my email and I try. Hey, Teresa, it's good morning. Good morning from across the pond. It's nice to see you. So, of course, this unscrupulous PI that can't seem to keep a job decides to make more posts. He's not getting enough attention. He really can't talk about the Sebastian Rogers case because he's been fired. from everything that I understood to be true. I called him out. I heard it through the grapevine. I called him out on X. And then, of course, he went to insulting me and I'm a flop at life. And he was trying to add some language from a report I filed against him here in Manatee County for trying to break into my financial systems. And this was in 2023, spilling over to 2024. He was trying to break into, allegedly, now there's no evidence of it yet, that he was trying to break into my Venmo and get into my emails. We know that that be true because he's doing the same thing to Hong and the other people. So anyways, he had knocked my account down at the end of 2023, December, right before Christmas. He took my account away over fraud. So he was fraudulently reporting my account as violating copyright. And he was filling out copyright action against me under a woman's name. He had full control of filing it and filling it out, and he even went as far as setting up an email to get all the correspondence so it looked like it was her that was filing this copyright when it was him. So I filed a complaint with the FBI, as well as filed a complaint against his license. And so that all kind of went away, but I was without, and him, of course, him and Queen Bee working together along with JLR, they were trying to cause financial problems to benefit Queen Bee's case. So I went without for 3 months while he was playing these games, and he was violating federal law doing it. So I know for a fact that he is willing to violate federal law. He's willing to break the law because he did it and got caught with me. And I called him out on it. Not only called him out on it, I filed a complaint with Manatee County Sheriff. I filed a complaint with the FBI, and I filed a complaint against his license. He almost lost his license, and he knows that. So long story short is I don't like this guy. I blocked this guy. I want nothing to do with him. But every case I go to, he starts jumping on the bandwagon of every single case I'm on. And then he tries to use hate to get the job. You know, oh my God, big bad Bullhorn Betty, Bullhorn Betty. Well, he's not getting enough attention anymore because he can't do the stuff he was doing before. Eventually it's going to catch up with him, and he's going to end up going to jail for some of the stuff he's doing. It's illegal. So we've been making a point to show everybody everything that this man does. And of course, you know, he puts his own foot in his mouth half of the time. Well, now all of a sudden, he's making a post on X. What does the post say? Oh, yeah, about, let me just read this. I posted it this morning on my page on X. If you guys haven't signed up for my X, go over there and sign up for my X. Oh, yeah. So he's sitting there saying that, why isn't it on here? He's sitting there and saying that it is that they changed the date. They changed the date from February 25th to February 26th to prove to us 10 plaintiffs, right, that they did not leave, that Sebastian was not carried out of the house. That's what he's trying to say now. Okay, first and foremost, that's not true. The reason why they changed February 25th is because we, the people, kept calling them and saying, hey, something's not right here. You're speaking out of both sides of your mouth. You're telling us he was last seen on the 26th, but you're also telling us that you have not seen him, heard from him, got a scent from him, saw him on video, or seen an eyewitness that stated that they saw him on the 26th. Many of us were calling in. Many of us were asking Carter. Many of us were asking TBI. Many of us repeated calling in and questioning them and re-questioning them and re-questioning them and telling them how it doesn't make sense. Then finally, they acknowledged. Now, mind you, Bullhorn Betty never came off of February 25th. As a matter of fact, not only did I not come off February 25th, you watch people come in here and read. Go back through my commentary. You'll hear people calling me a liar, telling me I'm spreading around misinformation, and how smart I am. I must have all the things, but I can't even get the date he disappeared right? All of that. But I have maintained February 25th, and I told you exactly why I've maintained February 26th. Moreover, NamUs has maintained February 25th since the onset of this case. And so I've made sure that I told you guys, not only am I taking February 25th because of what law enforcement's saying, not what they're writing. It's called common sense. And this is what people are lacking. They're telling us that he was last seen on the 26th, but they're also telling us nobody's seen him on the 26th. So which is it? Was he seen or was he not seen? It's very, very simple. We need to get to the bottom of it. This is very important. If he was seen on the 26th, that's important. If he was not seen on the 26th, that's extremely important. And so we pressed upon law enforcement the importance of having that date accurate. And so lo and behold, they agreed with Bullhorn Betty that the date and most of the other people that have maintained the February 25th date were true, accurate, and correct. Not spreading misinformation as we were accused. And you know how it's always flipped? If we say it's the 25th, we don't know what we're talking about. We're dumbasses, right? This is the same thing that the Yahoo says. Now when it's convenient, after we've done the work, not that asshole, he wants to say, oh, it's because they want to prove to the plaintiffs, the 10 people that are suing me, that they're wrong about the child, the person being drug out. That has nothing to do with it. The bottom line is no third party saw that child outside of his mother after the Texas Roadhouse. That's the facts. There's no motivation for the facts other than the facts. That's the facts. That's the facts. Where the hell have you been at? So we maintained the facts properly. We were called liars for maintaining the facts, but now all of a sudden law enforcement agrees with us, and naturally there's got to be a reason. It can't just be because it's the right date, right? It has to be, according to this unscrupulous PI, it has to be because they want to show us plaintiffs, because us 10 plaintiffs are that powerful that law enforcement is going to show us. This guy is a crackpot. This guy is a crackpot. River's saying it's 18 degrees. You guys see, I'm in long sleeve shirt. When Bullhorn Betty's pulling out long sleeve shirts, the rest of the country is freezing cold, okay? If Florida gets Bullhorn Betty putting on long sleeve shirts, the rest of you got no place to go. You freezing, okay? Do you have a rear end, or did it fall off? Did it freeze off? I'm just curious. I hope he never needs the police. He probably does. He probably does need the police. But not for the reasons we think he does. He needs some chinks. He needs some matching bracelets for all the crimes he commits. He would never want to come after me because all of the stuff he's done to me is going to be for first and foremost. And now that he's in this lawsuit, I'm going to be able to bring that into it as well, because I have all types of proof of his federal crimes, right? Just because he wasn't charged with them doesn't mean he didn't commit them. Just saying. MTB, even hell is freezing over. I get it. So I'm going to turn this around. I want you guys to see the video. We're going to watch two videos. The first one, of course, is our beautiful Hindsight. Hindsight, thank you. You always seem to get the best clips. I learned from them, and I learned from other clippers. And so I'm realizing there's a way. Well, I'm not going to say. I don't want anybody else taking the trick. But I'm realizing there's tricks to the game. And I'm learning. Hey, Meow, it's nice to see you. And so I'm trying to find the tricks. Hey, Melody, Unicorn, it's nice to see you. So many of you guys know today is the date we have all been waiting for, right? So this comes the date where the Lore Lodge interviews Seth and Tony. Now, the Lore Lodge gave this unscrupulous hothead idiot and a platform to advocate for however he wanted. He didn't challenge this unscrupulous PI. Many of us were very upset. Hey, Jets Mama. Many of us, hey, Pete, good morning, love. Many of us thought he really was too soft on SF with all of the nonsense and lies. and he just lets SF talk. He gave SF the opportunity to speak about anything and everything that he wanted. Hey, Faye, Blue Nick, it's nice to see you. BMW, Juicy Jello, good morning, love. Good morning. And he, as soon as that was over, he realized he messed up because he wasn't challenged on anything. He sounded like a complete buffoon that doesn't know the slightest things about this case. It showed how much he was going out of his way to try to change the narrative about his paid clients that he was recently fired from. Allegedly, and in my opinion, do your own fact-finding and research, but I know the information is out there because it came knocking on my door. And if it came knocking on my door, then more people know about this. So long story short, I heard he was fired, and he was fired as a result of that interview and the fact that they released images that caused people to call law enforcement in droves. And then we found out that those images that he produced were actually modified. Somebody went in there and blurred out windows and then tried to draw the windows in and really went to town on the images coming from them, and they were busted yet again. So this is not looking good, right? The unscrupulous PI claimed to find a lady, went on this wild tale about how he drove her home, and then her family and friends came out and said he was a liar. She drove her cell phone and didn't even realize she was missing. We have him manufacturing views, angles of view, and the fact that they had just replaced this new camera on the side. Oh, thank you, Gypsy. God bless you. I'll have to go over all these things. Thank you so much. Don't forget to tell Gypsy thank you. And for those that I know that somebody else, let me go over here and just say thank you, and then we'll get back to that. There we go. We got a couple of people here. Forever Nikki's mom gifted a Bullhorn Betty membership. If you received your Bullhorn Betty membership, don't forget to tell her thank you. MTB says thank you for never giving up. Hit that thumbs up. And then Gypsy just dropped 10 Bullhorn Betty memberships. If you received your Bullhorn Betty membership from Gypsy, please don't forget to tell her thank you. If you are a recipient of one of these gifted memberships, welcome to this crazy crew we call the Coffee Club, i.e. the Insane Asylum. Entry for 12, entry for 11, entry for 11. Get the rooms ready. Keep them away from mine. We got some straight jackets for every last one of you. I made sure we got an order of straight jackets. So you guys will be nice and comfy up here in this house, in this crazy house. You'll be okay in the crazy house. You'll be okay in the crazy house. Thank you guys so much. So we have all these things going, and then we find out he has allegedly 100 hours in footage, video footage from that night. He talks about that particular house right there on Kellen and Stafford, him having a good relationship and how he was coming out to help them with this reenactment. And it's like, dude, why didn't you just ask him for the footage so you know exactly what the view was? It seems like that would have been a lot easier since you had this working relationship with him. Probably have some daylight videos on hand anyways, right? He has 100 hours. I would assume he's made it very clear he's gotten the footage from that specific house, and that we're all just a bunch of crackpots because those lights are the dog walker, they're the construction worker walking to work, they're the boyfriend and girlfriend sneaking in and out of the house in the middle of the night, they're, it's a block party in the middle of the side common area to the Proudfoot's home. It's a freaking block party out there, according to this unscrupulous PI, right? All these people are up and moving about at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm surprised people just don't start getting up in Tennessee and heading to work. Everybody's up. Why not work? Make some money. 3 a.m. But that's not the case, and we all know it. So he manufactured those reports when he could have been accurate. He chose not to. And much like the same from the backyard, he tried to modify the image. He tried to overlay a date and time on there to make us believe that it is the date and time. And then he blocks it all out. And then when people are bitching about it being blocked behind the house, you're saying nothing to see over here, but you blocked everything to see, doesn't make sense. So then his partner, Mr. Sniffer in Chief, Stephen Crabtree, corrupt and vanished, right? He's corrupted without a doubt. He decides to produce the whole photo, except what he fails to tell everybody is he went in there and blurred and smudged all the windows. And then he's like, oh crap, what do I do now? So he goes back in there and tries to draw the windows back in, like an idiot. Does sound like Stephen Crabtree. And so that happened, and everybody started calling them out because now we have hardcore proof that they're manufacturing evidence and manufacturing videos and literally altering the video versus enhancing. Enhancement means you just use the same image and you're adjusting the exposure, you're adjusting the shadows, you're adjusting the noise, you're adjusting the lights, and you're sharpening the image. You know, there's a lot of different settings in there to help you sharpen images and change the lighting. But the overall image never is modified in any way. You're using the same exact image and just using different type of filtration type of settings in your phone or whatever program you're using, but no modification of that image. There's no additions or subtractions from that image. You're only working with the image itself and highlighting and undertones and stuff like that, if that makes sense. A lot of women do their hair, so you guys know how important it is for highlights and lowlights and all that other stuff. That's the only thing you're changing. You're not changing your hair, right? You're just changing the color of it. You're changing the highlights and lowlights of it. Your hair is still growing out of your head, okay? What they did is they did a buzz cut, okay? That's what they did. They went in there and smeared everything in the house when they moved the grade area, and they were busted doing that. So it created a lot of people calling into law enforcement, especially after one enhancement. And you know what his comment is, which is so ignorant. I mean, one of the most ignorant comments I have ever seen. He states he cannot believe. Now, we all know, because we're in true crime. We're truly in true crime. We're not playing true crime, right? We're not playing wannabe, detective, right? We're going fact-finding. And one of the statements he said, I want to read this verbatim so you guys can hear how ignorant this sounds. Let me get to it. Here it is. This is how ignorant it is. These individuals allege that their enhanced video magically transformed a single pixel into two people carrying Sebastian upside down through the streets at 3 a.m. No, it's through a common area in the middle of the night from their home to a vehicle. Not in the middle of the street at all. But the ignorance of this man to think that we can't enhance a single pixel. And it's not a single pixel. It's many pixels that make up that whole image. And that spot was multiple pixels, not a single pixel. So again, a man that has no idea about any type of photography or enhancements or shadowing or noise. Why is he doing these types of things where he's blowing up images and trying to show people when he can't even grasp that, yes, you can take and enhance pixels and see what's behind those lights? Absolutely, all day long, we all do it. Law enforcement does it. They do it so well that sometimes when things aren't very clear, they send it over to NASA. And sometimes it is a single pixel that they're working with. But these are many pixels that are blown up and distorted that need to be smoothed and highlighted and lowlights and stuff like that. You're not changing your hair. You're just adding some color. You see? That's all it is when you're enhancing a photo. He actually went physically and modified it. He smudged the photo, took the windows out. That's not enhancement. That's pure fabricating a photo. And that's what he was caught with. But to think, and he keeps trying to say through the street, we all know there was nobody on the street. It was all in that common area. But do you see how he tries to use misinformation and disinformation to start crafting and start changing a few things? Now he's taking people out of the common area and putting them into the road because he manufactured that bunk report, because he wanted to move this out of there. And then Pinchot had to do a 3D imaging just to show this Yahoo, you're full of shit. You know you're full of shit. Quit trying to manufacture evidence that's going to help your clients, because that's what he's doing. He's manufacturing documentation for his client. Because if not, why don't you just ask them for a video to show where their camera was during the day? Seems like he didn't want it because he knew where the camera was going to show. That's why. He knew the camera was going to show it angled right in that common area and had the full view of the side and the back of the Proudfoot home. So that is exactly why he had to, do this reenactment and show on this photo, knowing it was all bullcrap. And he did it from his phone, and he is too ignorant to understand. You can't take pictures from your phone and try to push them off as the camera on the house. Even when I did mine, I said, this is most likely what the view will look like. It seems funny that I can pop up a 9-foot, it's 9 foot, a 9-foot tripod and get an angle in 5 seconds that it took them hours upon hours to get the improper angle. And mine was more accurate in that little bit of few moments than his was out of a 100-page report. Cut it out. He intentionally manufactured that. Intentionally. All right, so let's get on. Let's get you guys moving. Let's get you guys moving. We're going to be looking at Miss Hindsight. Let me see if I can get this. See where we are. Hold on. Let me adjust a little bit better. We got it? We got it? Okay. I think we got it. Put this on the big screen. Here we go. I got it all the way up.
I will tell you that Chris is nasty. He is meaning, and he went off on my son and I one night and threatened his girlfriend in the Jeep. I still have it on a dash cam, which we didn't even realize it was running. Thank God it was. Where he confessed to me all kinds of crazy stuff, and afterwards it was over. My son and I looked at each other and we were like, wait, why did he tell us that? What is that? Why do we care? He was telling us all kinds of stuff at the very beginning, and then threatened us with, my mom's a realtor in Gallatin, and she knows everybody. She's got connections. And I'm like, and I don't give a crap what your mom's doing. But that was a threat to me to shut my mouth and make sure I kept my mouth shut to let me know. That was intimidation. But he was like, he thought this. I just wish I could describe to you the demeanor. I mean, the man stood in the middle of the street as we're driving slowly down the street. Now, this is my neighborhood. You're not going to tell me what road I can and can't be on. I live here too. I can go wherever I want to go and whatever time I want to go. As long as I'm not disturbing the peace, which we really don't even have. We're in the county, so we don't even have a, noise ordinance kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, whatever. But when he stood in the middle of that street, he stood with his feet basically hip width apart, his arms crossed, and his chest all punched out like, whoa, you're not going to get past me. Put his hand out to stop us. My heart jumped out of my throat. I had my phone in my hand, and I thought at first it was the police. Because I thought maybe the police were still over there. And I thought, oh crap, we're going to have to explain to the police that we're not being weird. Then I realized when I found out it was him and his...
First of all, I just want to let people know, law enforcement cannot pull you over for driving on public roadway. It doesn't matter what you're doing. If you ain't breaking the law, they cannot pull you over. And for somebody to be fearful that they're going to have to explain to law enforcement, that in and of itself is a problem for me. A huge problem for me. Let's listen to that guy.
Now, I thought at first it was the police. Because I thought maybe the police were still over there. And I thought, oh crap, we're going to have to explain to the police that we're not being weird. Then I realized when I found out it was him and his demeanor, I had my phone and I had 911 already on my phone and I was ready to hit send as soon as if I felt threatened by him. He's got this, I'm bigger than you. You are going to leave me alone and you're going to stop asking questions and you're going to get out of my face and you better not ever come back over here again. It was just this demeanor of get away from me and get off me. Leave me alone and stop messing with me. He is creepy as crap. And then he bold-faced lied to the entire world when he told everybody, this is Chris, that he was on a three-way call with Katie and that he called the non-emergency number because of where we live. That's bull. You cannot get 911 through the non-emergency line. The very first thing, the audio recording that comes up when you call the non-emergency line is, if this is an emergency, hang up and call 911. Now, if
only saying if you get to the non-emergency.
that's what I was getting. I know, and that was the next thing I was going to say is, if that was his air quotes faster way to get to somebody, he wasted 5 minutes because you have to go through all the prompts, then you have to wait for a jet to.
Wow. So instead of, do you guys understand how nonchalant Chris wanted to make this disappearance of his stepson? He did everything that he could possibly do to take away from this being an emergency. And look how much longer he had to wait on the phone to report this as a non-emergency. That does not even remotely make sense. Not even remotely. Let's keep going.
Connect your call. You got a missing kid. If I had a missing kid, I would have been dialing 911.
I'd have been dialing 911 too. I'd have been dialing 911 too. Unbelievable. Oops. Let me go back to Hindsight's channel. There's another one. Can't remember if that was the last one. Where was, here it is. I think it's this one that I was actually wanting to play.
I think she drugged him.
There it is.
And either drugged him to the point of knocking him. Because the question is how they, after we know about what happened with the whole light thing, and now we've got it confirmed for a fact where the lights went. But
Hey, Hobo's Live,
I know
KJ.
that my kids were over in the construction area. And let me rephrase this before anybody assumes anything. My kids were not standing next to the dogs when they jumped in the water. They were at the top of the hill, on top of the dirt mound, and could see the dogs from where they were standing, but they were not walking with them.
It must have been a
They
short.
were
This is
over
not
in
it
the
either.
property with them. The dogs jumped
listen.
into the pond. The handler had to pick up and drag the dog out of the water because it's like quicksand. And when he came back out of the water and they walked back up to the back of the property where our house meets the construction area, my kids were out there and asked, what happened? And the handler said he jumped in the water. And my kids were like, what do you mean? Why did he jump in the water? Well, not only did he tell my kids that, but he told my neighbor down the street the exact same thing when they came door to door asking for video footage and do you mind if we search your property? Her husband asked him, the dog was right there. Her husband asked, did you guys get any hits? And the guy said the exact. I think that Katie was at home. And when I talked when Monday morning, when my neighbor that's directly across the street from their house, who Stephen actually saw today, when she called me that Monday morning, around 8 o'clock, asking me if I had heard what was going on. Of course, at that point in time, I literally just got up and I didn't know what was going on. Her story to me by Katie was that Katie had gotten back from Texas Roadhouse, and Sebastian took the trash out, and then she was sitting on the couch watching TV, and Sebastian was in his room.
Okay.
Right. Sebastian was in his room, and supposedly supposed to be getting ready for bed, whatever. Well, Katie was on a couch, and I think it was about 10:30 or so. She heard a thunk and yelled across the house, "Sebastian, what are you doing?" He's like, "Nothing, Mom. Everything's fine. Go to bed." So she goes in the kitchen. She does whatever she does, and then she goes to bed, and everything is gone, done. Never one time did she ever mention being on the phone with Chris or...
And nor did she ever mention to us that she was in the kitchen doing anything. We were told that for 3 solid hours, her butt was stuck to a couch. Cinderella, I'm a follower of anti-Scientology movement. I want to assure you I'm not spamming BHB, only explaining now so they don't twist my words. Oh, no worries, no worries. I'm not part of Scientology. I think Scientology, I don't know how, I don't want to be disrespectful to a religion, but when I find out that you have to divest and give to the church, yeah, there's something wrong there. I'm sorry. There's something wrong there. The Lord says to tithe 10%, not your entire net worth. So just, FYI, I just don't agree with something just doesn't seem, if something doesn't feel right in my gut, then that's just how it is. Not that I'm being, so all my Scientology people, if you're in Scientology, I don't want to be disrespectful. Maybe it's just my ignorance on the faith, but that's just how I feel. That is the feeling I got, but allegedly with Brittany suggested his channel. I was floored when I was Aileen. I thought she left the oh, good gracious. I don't know how to take that, lady. I know that my people here on this channel, my mods, tried to help Aileen a lot more than I would have ever, I had no idea, but I pray that Aileen does the right thing in her life. That's really all I gotta say. I'm not saying I believe anyone, just going with what has been stated by each person. Yeah, there's a lot of, I don't know if you're talking about somebody in the chat or not, but even when we show people's own voices and own words, they will deny saying them. So
fine, go to bed. So
for
she
some
goes to the
people.
kitchen, she does whatever she does, and then she goes to
Hey,
bed,
Lisa,
and
Sadie.
everything is gone, done. Never one time did she ever mention being on the phone with Chris or doing schoolwork or anything like that. None of that ever happened until after she did that first YouTube live.
Bam. So that's when, and I don't think, it may have been in part of YouTube, but it also may have been in part of law enforcement. Law enforcement wants you to provide a detailed timeline of your whereabouts. In situations like that, they want you to tell them where you were every second of every day. And people are like, well, that's very hard to do. Yeah, it is. But in today's society, it's not as hard as it once was, because we have a lot of cues, right? We can look at our email, see what we were doing at that time. Did we email somebody? Sometimes emails will trigger a memory of what you were doing at the time you were writing that email. You just have a lot of things that can help you. You have Google Maps on your phone that literally monitors your every move. You can go to your history and see where you were on any particular day. That stuff is recorded. If you don't know it, it is. Go to your Google Maps and go to your timeline. You will be very amazed about how accurately your Google Maps identifies exactly where you're going. I know you guys are going to be like, oh crap. Go to your timeline in your maps. I guarantee you will see you bouncing all over your county. So if you're doing stuff that you shouldn't be doing, if you fishing in ponds you shouldn't be fishing in, I'm just saying, you tracking yourself. You tracking yourself. That's all I got to say about that. Okay, let's get back.
With that one person, that lady.
Yeah.
So the question was, when I called my neighbor back and I asked her, I said, did you know anything about that phone call? She said, no. She never said anything to me about being on the phone with him. So then I talked to another friend of mine who lives down the street from me, who was actually at the command post. And then my neighbor, her granddaughter is in the EMS services. She was there at the command post because they had EMS there in case for the first week, just in case they happened to find him injured or stuck somewhere or whatever. And she was at the command post, and she said that they got ping on his phone in Memphis at the RV. And she said, yeah, but it never moved. So the idea is he left his phone sitting in the RV so that he could have an air quotes alibi, and when they pinged his phone, it would be up there. Well, he was here. Graduated from there. I know teachers in there. My kids went to school over there. I still know teachers over there. And I actually had an teacher assistant, that my kids had called me at the beginning of this and asked me how much I knew. And we had like an hour-long conversation, and she said to me herself, she said, I'm telling you, they got rid of him because he was talking. CPS had reported being over here several times. Chris and Katie were having they were having fights in their backyard, yelling and screaming at each other. That was reported from multiple people. They were fighting and arguing. There was a neighbor close by that overheard Chris say, either you get rid of him or I am. He hated Sebastian, hated him. That was reported at school.
Now, I know a lot of people on social media would like to say these things didn't happen. People that are all over this country, right? This is a neighbor in this specific neighborhood that has a good relationship with a lot of her neighbors. She's grown up in the area her entire life. These people are known to her. Her family was one of the first houses, her mom and dad's were one of the first houses, from my understanding, in this community. Or her and her sister lived next to each other, then her and her family moved over here, something to that effect. Long story short, she's been here her whole life. It's a small community. Everybody knows everybody. And she's in this community where this happens. She's got her hand on the pulse, okay? I would believe her account before I believe anybody else's. One, she didn't know this family, so it's not like she harbored any ill will or any intentional hatred toward this family, right? She just happened to live in the neighborhood when this went on, but as many of you guys, I mean, think about me. If somebody if some child down the road disappeared out of this community, off my street, what do you think I would do? Do you think I would just go into my home and, knit? Or do you think somebody like me that wants to know what the heck happened would be nosy, right? I would be nosy. You would be nosy. She is nosy, right? A child disappears from a community she's raised her children. She's going to be nosy. I'm going to be nosy. We're all going to be nosy. Okay? It didn't happen a mile down the road. It happened a few feet from my front door, right? So that's where we're at. So what is the one reason why I always go boots on the ground? What is one of the only reasons why I go boots on the ground? Because you get the info. You get the local info, not the Google info. You get the real, not what they want you to know. That's why it is so blessed important to get your feet on those pavements and find out what's really going on. That's what's so effective about our reporting, and a lot of reporting from people like me, is because we go boots on the ground to find the information that's not being written on Google. And this is the stuff that's not being written on Google. This is the stuff that's not being reported by law enforcement. This is absolutely credible. There's things that we're seeing. And we got people in other countries or other states for a variety of reasons telling us that what we're hearing from the ground level isn't true. Well, how the hell do you know over there in Washington State or over there in Virginia? How do you know? You don't. You don't until you get a different perspective. People that have neighbors as sources, those are the ones that you want to listen to. Those are the ones with the the hand on the pulse. So I always love being with locals, listening to their stories, hearing the rumors going around their town, because those rumors, a lot of the time, hold a lot of weight. It gets you something to look into. And once you start following that lead, whether it just extinguishes itself or not, it usually gives you another viable lead to follow. So boots on the ground is always the way. Hearing directly from a person in that specific community, not even in Sumner County as a whole, literally a neighbor from that community, you're going to want to listen. You're going to want to listen. This neighbor did not know these people before this happened. So there's no pre-animosity or some type of bias or anything there, because it was just like they probably passed each other along and waved. Or the opposite. They're just going where they're going to and from and not even paying attention. I don't know. I always try to look at whoever's passing me. I always try to wave and, look at whoever's passing me. I don't know. It's just me, I guess. It's just, just like when I'm walking and somebody passes you, I always smile and say, hey. I don't know. It's just something I do. I don't know. Just something I do. Can you guys hear my stomach? I hope you guys can't hear my stomach. My stomach is rumbling like I'm starving. You'd think I hadn't eaten in a week. I mean, it's just making all kinds of noises. I am kind of hungry, but please. Oops, I guess you guys probably don't want to see my ceiling. Oh, probably don't want to see my keyboard either. There we go.
One of the counselors admitted, or one of the teachers admitted, knowing that he absolutely hated him. Apparently, he also said it to one of his coworkers, and he hated him. He said, what did they call him? A freaking retard or something? He called him.
Yeah.
So I know Chris hated him. And
so, I mean, there was a lot of animosity. Does anybody find it? Oh, hey, Tugs. Nice to see you, love. The real me, too. Good morning, BA. I know I said hi to you. Regina, I didn't say hi to you this morning. Lisa, good morning. So, do you guys find it a little concerning that we have a missing child that had all this hatred around him? Yeah, he had it from the stepfather and his side of the family. We can't forget how TB has been speaking about Sebastian to his coworkers and other people. Why would anybody treat or speak to somebody like that? What if it was him having the bowel and urinary issues? I mean, he's getting a little older. It's right around the corner. First time he defecates on himself, that will be karma at its finest. But think of how he talked about this. This is everybody on that side of the family. All the time, every day. He's such a horrible kid, right? He's got these problems. They could be kind, but choose not to.
I think that he was causing major issues in their marriage because Katie, being the mom, was trying to deal with all of his emotional issues. There was not enough of a scent trail. There was a scent trail around his house, but it didn't lead us anywhere, and we were expecting that because of his house. So I'm telling you, from the neighbor next door, when she said that they had turned in their footage 2 weeks late when she was at the command center, and they saw this movement, and it looked like there was something draped over their shoulder. That was as soon as they said, she told me, she said, I'm telling you, somebody took him out of the house. And I'm like, okay, but what I'm...
This is coming from a neighbor and knows the specific neighbor that had this footage. I don't understand why people would let a yahoo that's being paid big bucks by the mom and stepfather lead people astray. You know what he ended up doing to this lady here that you're hearing, this neighbor? This unscrupulous PI tried to accuse her and her children of lying in wait and being responsible for the disappearance of Sebastian. This lady literally had no earthly idea who they were. Why would anybody be lying in wait for people they don't even know? Doesn't make sense. Hey, Chaos. What's going on with Sonia? She normally comes on at 10, but you hit the bell on her channel, be notified. Oh, yeah. I usually come on at 10. And I was good, but you know what I find, like in mornings like this, I don't like sitting around until 10. I feel like it's a waste of time. You know, I'm ready. I've got things to talk about. I mean, I'm gonna be doing several lives throughout the day. Some are gonna be like this. Some are gonna be produced. I'm just because yesterday I took off. I just felt like, I don't know, a down day. Every now and again I feel like a down day. So I usually work 7 days a week, but yesterday after church I felt good and I wanted to cook and I just wanted to get some stuff done around the house, and next thing you know, it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon and I'm exhausted. Then it's time to kick the feet up. Then it's time to listen to everybody else. So that's kind of what I did. Now let's see this movement that she must have been talking about, because remember, is it this one? Okay, here it is. Because remember, one, this is kind of going to sum both of these up. We were talking about the unscrupulous PI. The unscrupulous PI says they cannot believe that you can enhance this pixel. It's not a pixel, actually. It's a lot of pixels. It's just that the pixels, as you blow them up, get a little blurry. And so you got to try to adjust for that. And so you use your filters and other settings for exposure and stuff to lift some of the image. And that's what happened. And many people take a still, like I took a still and I used a still. The one great thing about Hindsight 2002 is I haven't seen another one yet, but she actually took the video and was able to blow the video up and use filters on the actual video segment. And you could clearly see something moving. It's a blob, but you can definitely see a blob is moving with something over its shoulder. And so for those that have not seen that, let me put this on. This is the one. This is the one I've been looking for this whole time. I played 3 of Hindsight's videos for this one. It was in the shorts. This is the one. This is the one I've been wanting to show you guys. Good gracious. Don't mind me, it's Monday. Here it is. Now, we get to see, because we started out with that disgusting statement from that idiot and the worthless, unscrupulous PI. We're hearing that the neighbor, which I love being boots on the ground, because I love the information from the neighbors. That is my bread and butter when I'm out there in the streets. When I'm out there and looking into a case, right? It's the neighbors. It's the people in and around that know the dirt. Come on, you know. Everybody knows. What is a beauty salon? Come on. Come on. All right, here we go. This is it right here. And you hear Miss Bobby talking about something over the shoulders.
Sure. I told you that they didn't think, because it's an older couple. They've got cameras on the front corner and back corner of their house, and they told TBI and Sheriff's Office Department that their camera wasn't working. Well, they came back 2 weeks later and went around, and I told you they started
great work. Now, this is not the first time hindsight's prepared. Oops, hold on a second. Let me make sure it's tight. That hindsight, that's not the first time she's released that. We had images of that. I think we were talking about it, what, a week ago? Salons don't open on Sundays and Mondays around here. Oh, they're open 7 days a week around here. Pete, yeah, they do. Cannot let them get away with that. Gotta fight then for that report. Which report? Let me go up here to see what Pete says. They all passed the buck. Everybody's been, I don't know what's going on. I think that's the bad part about it. I mean, we all know that there's an investigation that needs to be upheld. But to have what we have here and to see what we see here and not to have better transparency, at least from law enforcement saying that they haven't given up on Sebastian, they're still working the case, you know, just something. It's just sad because we've had really nothing. They've given no press conferences since April 2024. They've had no public searches whatsoever, or private searches for that matter. You know, targeted searches. We haven't heard of any of them, and so we've got no searching from them. We've got no communication from them, so we can't see them. We can't hear them. You know, that's an uncomfortable place to be when we're coming up on a 1-year milestone of a child being missing. And we've got, let's talk about it. We've got law enforcement wanting us to believe that, you know, common area, people moving about in a common area was a trash truck. You know, so we know that they don't mind deceiving us, which, you know, they'll have to do for the secrecy of some of the information that they have in their case. They need that ultra secret. That's why it's always a bad idea to have a loudmouth PI. Private investigators can get some information that the normal public would not be privy to if, you know, otherwise. And when you splatter the stuff that the public wouldn't be privy to all over the internet, it causes problems in the case. That's why people hire private investigators. They expect some level of confidentiality, professionalism, among other things, and that's just not what you get with this Yahoo. So a lot of information that we didn't previously have has now been had. For example, I truly believe people were up, that there were lights that were seen from that camera behind their house, observed on the evening of February 25th going into February 26th. I do not believe it was a dark home. I don't believe that now. And why do I say that? Well, because they tried to cover up all the windows. Like they smeared the windows on the house when they modified that image. And if they were going to do that, what were they hiding if nothing was going on? That's my first, you know, like, what, who does that? So that's number one. Number two, it seems like he's dismissed reasonable things, like, and what I mean by the unscrupulous UTI, he manufactured a report when he could have just asked for footage from the homeowner that allegedly was out there helping them reenact the scene. Like, the homeowner has the footage. The homeowner could show him the daylight view. If the homeowner was out there and he's collected footage from him already, he should already know exactly what angle that camera is and could have taken a picture or a screenshot of the legitimate footage. But he chose not to. It's stuff like that. It's stuff like saying he knows who it is that was sitting in that car, but then changes who it could be 50 million times. It was A boyfriend-girlfriend. He knows exactly who it was in that car at 3 a.m. It was a boyfriend-girlfriend situation. Then it was, well, it was the Uber driver. When that was disproven, it was like, oh, well, it's a construction worker walking to work. Then it was a person walking their dog. And it just kept changing. Now, remember, he said he knew exactly who it was. So if he knew exactly who it was, how can it be all these things? It doesn't make sense. But yet, every time we listen to Miss Bobby, we find something. Think about it. If it wasn't for her interview with JLR, we wouldn't have known that it was a car we were looking at the whole time. We couldn't figure out what those lights were. You guys forget about that. Now we see the car. But for the longest time, we didn't know what those lights were. We thought they were motion lights. We had to turn the image. It was like this. We had to turn the image like this, and you could see the outline of the car. Or the vehicle, I should say. We don't know what it is. But I've got to tell you that it was awfully funny that she says that, and then we finally, that puzzle piece falls right into place. And now she's talking about this, and we go and enhance a video, and that puzzle piece falls into place. The one thing I can tell you is every time Miss Bobby opens her mouth, a puzzle piece that has perplexed us falls into place. So whether or not people keep trying to dog her, she's trying to help us understand what happened in her community. This case is freaking ridiculous and killing me. I cry over this boy. I'm close by in Tennessee too. Yeah, it's sad. But for an unscrupulous PI to attack this woman that's from that community, that only wants the truth and wants the people to be held accountable because this happened in her community. And she's very prideful of her community. She loves her community. She never wants to think something like this could happen in her community. But now that it has, she wants to make sure whoever is responsible for this violation of not just Sebastian, but that whole damn neighborhood. They didn't just violate Sebastian, they violated that whole neighborhood. That whole neighborhood has had to endure, scrutiny, has had to endure people going in and, wanting to see the area, wanting to see ground zero, just like me. Nothing's unlawful about it. But they did this to their community. I didn't do it to the community. Dolly flying the drone over the house, he didn't do that to their community. He was there because of what they did to that community. Nobody else. Nobody else. Because if there wasn't a story, people wouldn't be covering a story. Period. We knew something in our gut right away was not right in this case. And we learned early on that the stepfather hated his stepson. Not love. Hated. And everybody's trying to make us and trying to force feed us that what we know to be true is not true. Don't you think the neighbors would have a little more insight what's going on in their backyard, especially when people are in their backyard screaming, than we do out here in social media world? I'm just asking for some common sense here. Because these are multiple neighbors describing the same public outbursts from these parents. There was seriously something wrong in their marriage, and they believed Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers was the culprit. And they couldn't him, and so they abuse him, and he starts opening his mouth at school and reporting it, and it's causing even more problems in their household because they want to keep that undercover. Oh, let's go over there. As a matter of fact, we already have him.
The Chronicles of Olivia interview is different than the previous ones. We can tell Katie Proudfoot had time to think. It was 20 days after Sebastian was first reported missing, and Katie Proudfoot changed her language. For example, she no longer told us, when I woke him up, he wasn't there.
I'll be right back. I gotta get
Such
my
things she didn't say anymore.
I'm out of juice.
She no longer gotten in. Well, let's get straight to this part here. Came home, he took out the trash. Not I came home, not we came home, not he and I came home. She's leaving out pronouns. Don't underestimate Katie Proudfoot. Chris Proudfoot is clueless. He can watch videos about anything he wants. He wouldn't get it. The things that we are here learning together, Chris Proudfoot would not be able to follow any of it. But Katie Proudfoot, I think, was actually able to see her own mistakes before they were pointed out by people. For example, she probably watched a lot of Peter Hyatt's videos. Mind you, Seth was on one of the videos, so I'm pretty sure that she was alerted to that channel and learned a lot about pronouns. And
so I think one of the things that Mike Damon realized, like many of us have realized, sorry, my water's in the bed. Here, let me move this. Like many of us have realized is that they were making statements. Like I said, whenever you're reviewing all of these interviews, all of them, you have to look at two things with these interviews. You have to look at what was going on in social media around the time that each of these interviews were provided. You can't have one without the other because you learn very, very quickly a lot of the inconsistent statements are based upon them adjusting to statements and criticism being made online. That's why you start seeing them moving around when it comes to what really happened and adding language in. They were monitoring social media when they were going online to address these issues. You know, that's why it was very noticeable that most of their interviews were based around them and their feelings as opposed to the victim and the victim's feelings or what the victim may be going through. And why do I call Sebastian a victim? Is because I don't believe he left his home on his own accord. So that in and of itself is a crime. So even at the lowest level, he's still a victim. He's still a victim. And they're more concerned. Now remember, they keep professing to the world they have no clue where this child is, which is Katie's son and Christopher Proudfoot's stepson. They have no idea where he is. But every single interview, they are more concerned about themselves. They don't talk, they don't cry, they're not concerned about whether he has food. This is a mother that gave birth to this child. Doesn't care whether he's had food, whether he's eating or drinking, where he could be. Is he being assaulted? Is something worse happening to him, like SA? She has no idea where her son is. No earthly idea whether he's dead or alive. She says she does not know. And when she comes up on every single interview, her cries aren't for her son and his well-being. Her cries are for herself. And how dare us, like we put them in this situation, right? like we did something. None of us knew this family until their child disappeared on their watch. Right? They're the ones that approach social media. Social media didn't seek them out. So let's look at this realistically here. We were all on Riley Strain. They chose to go on to Dutchess and beg for social media. And then we come and help. We didn't expect that we were going to find what we found, but we did. It doesn't look good. Our guts are in tune with reality. And now we know for a fact that the stepfather despised, if not outright hated, Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. What do you think a man like Christopher Proudfoot would do if he was forced to live with someone he hated? Like I said, I heard that they got as far as he was ready to divide assets. He was done with their marriage before Sebastian just vanished. He wasn't coming home. He wasn't participating in the marriage. And then boom, all of a sudden, Sebastian disappears. Katie's around Chris all the time. Now they're in their little bubble. It went from them never being around each other to always being around each other. Does anybody find that odd? And then to have conversations like, well, you know, we just need to grieve and get moving, you know, move on. We still have to live. We still have to work. We still have to get on with our lives. And that was said months ago from the stepfather, the one we're learning absolutely hated and despised his stepson. It's either him or me. I want you guys to remember those statements. It's either him or me. Well, it's either him or me. So now we have a missing 16-year-old boy. He is 5'5", or at least was. We know how growing boys are. But at the time of his disappearance, he was 5'5". We were made to believe he was 120 pounds. We learned he's probably more in line with 110 pounds to 115 pounds. Brown hair to dirty blonde hair, brown eyes, wears black frame glasses. He allegedly was in all black, which I find awfully funny that a kid had the wherewithal to wear all black in the middle of a very dark black night, but didn't remember to take his switch, phone, food, money, or medicine, or shoes for that matter. But I digress. Him or me, just remember. And now we have a me instead of a him. Just saying. Anyways, guys, thanks for all coming and hanging out with me. We will do something. I think we still have some other videos we need to go over. We're still going down the path of looking at sus interviews, especially those earlier on interviews, when we would expect a parent to be acting awfully sus and not getting their story right. We are learning the only stories that have ever changed since the beginning were the ones coming from the mom and stepfather. So it's been very, very good actually going back and listening to some of Seth's work and interviews and stuff like that, and seeing his work, you know, boots on the ground. He was, without a doubt, looking for his son every single day. Every single day. Every single day he had his crew out there. He was out there. He was in the woods. He was searching culverts. He was searching all over the place with people. And it wasn't hidden searches either. It wasn't ones that, well, we went out and searched. We just didn't want to take, we didn't want to let anybody know we were out there searching. I mean, everybody's telling us we're not searching, so we're going to wait for 10 months before we start taking photo ops. Okay. So I don't have anything good to say about the mom or stepfather. I just don't. I think that they've got a lot of explaining to do. I think they've lied. From long before Bullhorn Betty was ever involved in this case. They were talking about how they were being harassed. Nobody even knew about their case by March 3rd. We were all on Riley Strain. The only people that could be harassing them were people from their own community, because none of us knew. Remember, they kept it ultra silent from the world until they were forced to do something, shit or get off the pot, because the case was about to turn into a criminal investigation. Then boom, next thing you know, they're begging social media for help, and we come to help, and they don't like the results because we're not stupid. So here we are. All right, guys, go rock it out with your coffee beans out. We will be back later this afternoon. I don't know what time. I've got some paperwork to do, and then once I'm done with my paperwork, I'm going to go live. They're just going to be pop-up lives throughout the day. Don't forget, we have a huge interview this evening at 7, the Lore Lodge. And the father, Seth Rogers, with his national spokesperson, Tony Mathis, will be on a live interview, no holds bar interview. Much different than the interview that the Lore Lodge provided that unscrupulous PI. He didn't even challenge the unscrupulous PI on any information. It'd always be nice if he had that same, if he didn't challenge Seth. That would be nice, but I have a funny feeling there's going to be, because of all the people and all the hate, nothing, and I mean nothing, from the beginning interviews to today has ever made me believe Seth was responsible for the disappearance of his son. But with his son's condition and learning his son was so isolated at his mom's house, there are literally no other people to look at. Like, there's nobody else. And we all know a child does not just disintegrate or evaporate. We know that. Common sense tells us that. 7 p.m. I can't remember if it's Central or Eastern. I think it might be on mine. It might be 6 Central. Go to the Lore Lodge. It'll tell you Eastern time. Thank you, The Real Me Too. So that means 6 o'clock Central. And it goes back from there. So go over the Lore Lodge, get signed up. You're not going to want to miss this, guys. I will tell you, I'm just going to forewarn you, it's not a money grab for the Lore Lodge or anything like that. I don't know the kid. I don't talk to the kid. He's not in my wheelhouse. I just enjoy watching him and love his work. I'm just saying, we're going to have thousands of people in that chat. If you even want your question to be considered, I told you guys days ago, it would be my suggestion to get that in, because if you go into the chat and want to ask questions, the only way you're going to be seen in the sea of thousands of people is by super chat. That's it. So if you guys do not want to have to pay for a super chat, you could have gotten your question in days ago when I had suggested, but there's still time now to send good questions in. So if you don't want to pay for a super chat, send questions in. And with the amount of people that were in there, I can tell you he wasn't even able to get through all the super chats before. So it's my suggestion, just send your question in before he even starts. It makes the process a lot easier. I heard no chat. I can't imagine there being no chat. I can't imagine there not being no chat. I can't imagine it being like that. So just go over there and sign up. I don't believe there's going to be no chat. The chat moves so fast nobody can see it anyways. Because I definitely want to communicate with people in the chat. That would kind of suck if they didn't have chat. I think that would be a disadvantage to them if they didn't have a chat. So, but hey, you know what? To each their own. He's running the show. He's running the show. And you know, we respect the you know, you're not required to watch, right? You're not required to watch. So hopefully he has the chat on. I can't imagine not having the chat on, but maybe he doesn't want the chat on because he knows that it's going to be filled with my allergies this time here. We have pollen, bad pollen, but it may very well be. It may very well be he doesn't want the crap from the trolls, you know? And it's sad that the trolls have that much power. Like, I'm one of those people that you try to intimidate me away from something, I'm going full force with it. Like, you want to make it so nobody can talk. Like me, I control my chat. If I was having an interview like this and I wanted to weed out the trolls, I would put 5 or 6 days or 10 days, right? A 10-day window on when I control my chat. Believe that. If I wanted it to be, you know, if I really wanted it just to be, you know, all outs, you know, in my chat, I would just let anybody come in here. But we control our chat a lot, and how I control that in a lot of ways is one day, right? Because I not only that, but I find it really unhinged. I gotta be honest with you, I get a chuckle out of it. That somebody would literally wait for 24 hours just to say one horrible sentence to me, just to be blocked for another 24 hours. That is comical to me. I'm sorry, it is. Don't hate me, but I get a little comedy out of that. I really do, because like who does that? Who does that? It's so stupid. It's childish. I would trust me, if I didn't, that just shows me they have to like me, right? You know, they have this fake hate, this jealousy hate or whatever it is for me, but they watch me and they're literally willing to hang out for 24 hours so they can make one crappy comment. Like me, I'm like, they ain't even worth it. Like, I'm not sticking around. I'm damn sure not signing up, and I'm damn sure not going to comment. Okay? I got my own platform. If I really wanted to complain about somebody, I'd just turn on a live, turn on a camera, and tell you about yourself. I wouldn't be in your chat for 24 hours. I'm just saying. Oh, P. Gray gave 5 memberships away. Thank you, P. Gray. God bless you. And for the 5 that just became members of this crazy crew, welcome to the family, i.e. the Insane Asylum. All right, guys, go have a great Monday. We'll be throughout the day. Just set your subscriptions to all today, because I'm going to be popping in. There is no schedule to today. I'm going to pop in wherever I can since I took yesterday off. I am energized, but I got a lot of crap that needs to be done, so I forgot. We got something special coming for you guys very, very soon. A change of scenery, if you will. A change of scenery. So, I'll let you guys sit there and nibble on that for a little bit. I will see you guys very, very soon. Take care.